Factsverse presents 10 Unsolved Mysteries of the Bermuda Triangle. Number 1. USS Cyclops. In March 1981, the USS Cyclops was sailing through the Bermuda region. There were 309 crew members on board. One of the crew members sent a message to let those on land know that everyone on board was fine and where the ship was located. Not long after, though, there was no more contact from the ship, and all of the crew members had disappeared. A search party went to the ship's last known location, and they saw no sign of it. There were no remains of the ship or the crew members. Today, it still remains one of Bermuda Triangle's biggest mysteries. Number 2. The Mary Celeste. On December 5, 1872, the Mary Celeste was found near the Bermuda Triangle. There were no problems with the ship except for the fact that the entire crew had disappeared. Still on board were several barrels of alcohol and all of the crew's possessions. Some tried to explain their disappearance by saying they were captured by pirates. The only problem with this theory was that everything was still on board. Another explanation was that the crew went insane due to ingesting infected food. Some say the crew were victims of the Bermuda Triangle. To this day, no one really knows what happened. Number 3. The Ellen Austin. This is the strangest of the 10 unsolved mysteries of the Bermuda Triangle. The ship was headed to New York in 1881 and went through the Bermuda Triangle. The ship and its entire crew disappeared without a word. When the ship finally reappeared, the entire crew was gone. There were no signs of a struggle. The ship was in perfect shape, but the crew had mysteriously disappeared. Number 4. Flight 19. 5 TBM Avenger torpedo bombers were traveling over the Bermuda Triangle in 1945, and they were given the name Flight 19. On December 5th, they disappeared without a trace. When there was no contact with the ship, a Martin Mariner flying boat with 13 men on board were sent out to search for the planes. This plane also disappeared. To this day, none of the missing planes have ever been found, nor have any of the crew members. Number 5. Carroll A. Deering. In 1921, a 5-masted commercial schooner called the Carroll A. Deering was found run aground in North Carolina, right off of Cape Hatteras. The crew had sailed through the Bermuda Triangle, and it was believed that the crew was the Triangle's victims. Around the same time, 9 more ships were lost in the Bermuda Triangle. Unlike the Carroll A. Deering, those vessels were never seen again. To this day, nobody knows what happened to the ships or their crews. Number 6. The Witchcraft. On December 22, 1967, Captain Dan Burke of the cabin cruiser Witchcraft was sailing from Miami when the ship hit something and sustained light damage. It was nothing that could create dangerous conditions, therefore Captain Burke kept going. While sailing through the Bermuda Triangle, the captain radioed the Coast Guard for help. Within 20 minutes, the Coast Guard reached the boat's location, only to find no sign of it. The ship was considered to be unsinkable, and there were enough life-saving devices on board which should have saved the captain and his passengers. Unfortunately, the ship and its passengers were never found. To this day, no one knows what happened. Number 7. Tudor Star Tiger. On January 30, 1948, the Tudor Star Tiger took flight from Santa Maria with 25 passengers on board. Right before the plane was going to enter the Bermuda Triangle area, the pilot gave a radio operator the craft's coordinates. Not long after, the radio operator was no longer able to get a signal from the aircraft. Also, the pilot was not answering any radio calls. When it was clear that the airplane had disappeared, 26 aircraft were sent to the area to search for 5 days. Sadly, their efforts were worthless, and there was no sign of the aircraft or its passengers. Number 8. Flight DC-3. a Douglas Dakota DC-3 airplane took off from Puerto Rico to Miami, Florida, with 26 people on board on December 28, 1948. When it was about 50 miles away from the airport, the pilot radioed in his position. About 20 minutes later, the airport would not get a signal from the plane, nor would they get an answer from the pilot. A search turned up no signs of the plane or the passengers. Not long after, 2 more airplanes disappeared in the same area. Number 9. Flight 441. In 1954, Flight 441 was flying overseas with 42 people on board. When the plane was 400 miles off the coast, right inside the Bermuda Triangle, it disappeared. There was no sign of the plane or those on board. Today, nobody knows what happened to the plane, and it is one of the biggest mysteries surrounding the Bermuda Triangle. Number 10. Piper Jets. The most recent Bermuda Triangle mystery occurred on June 20, 2005. A Piper PA-23 plane was flying between Treasure Cay, Bahamas and Fort Pierce, Florida, with 3 people on board. When the plane's signal disappeared and there was no contact from the aircraft, a search party was sent out. There was never any sign of the plane or its passengers. This just goes to show that the Bermuda Triangle still remains a dangerous area for both boats and aircraft. Subscribe for more.